Is an average kid and no one understands. Mom and Dad and Vicky always giving him commands.
I don't know if I fixed the audio static problem. It's probably still there, but that's literally a new problem and I have no idea where it came from. Ah, man. Oh, Noah Bounce, my beloved. What else we got in here? No, I do not want the UK garage right now.
Oh yes, bitch.
Decent. How are you doing today, at least? At least they gave us a quest to watch a fucking video for a goddamn shield design. Too bad I can't play Dark Ages. They're really selling Dome's DLC for this game before like ahead of time? You can't be serious. Feature campaign DLC sold in the premium edition? I guess. Right. For Dome to Dark Ages inside the premium edition. It's right here inside the video quest that they have on Discord. just being a part of a bigger industry issue, in my opinion. We want good games. We also want those good games to appreciate our effective money and time. And that's just them telling us, hey, we're going to give you DLC for the future for free. But we also didn't consider having enough content for you guys there before we put in this future DLC manifest. This is my opinion, of course. The fact that this fucking music style works so good with Willow's music is so fucking stupid. But then again, Willow is the fake, deep, spiritual soul that would definitely love to fuse it with a little bit of ass shaking. The Smith kids are fucked up, and it's Jada's fault. It's also unfortunate because her singing voice is a white woman's voice. Or at least she writes music that I expect a white woman that is deep, fake, soulful to write. You see that from the first 4 chapters of Doom. I found time for us to figure out what we were going to do, but my usual websites were not functioning because a member of our group decided to put our shit up on fucking Reddit, and more than likely the majority of some of our movie links were getting fucking taken down. So I had to use an alternative site, but it was all good. Everybody was happy. We even found a secret talent that Aqua has. 2 of them. And they're both voicing Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. He said the magic word. We knew the embrace of Oblivion was annoying, preferably being married to Kata. Tupac talks to Luke. Look, Smoke Chicken Heads. It is good for head. I don't know what to tell you, Ace. Fucking Chicken Head got herself and her daughter crying for a man that would have not cared. You put that into context. Imagine any of the important couples in history. Imagine any of the famous couples in history. Imagine there was a side nigga or side bitch, and they had a kid, and they were writing letters to your rival while with you. What is the music site? Many of these are different Noah bounce beats. If to find this, you can just type Noah beat and click on a random YouTube mix. Some of these are made by Phaso Beat. Some of these are produced by Ray Sam. Some of these are Arnett mixes. I've linked these in the server before. Any music I ever play on stream is linked to the music playlist. Will's so whipped that he's just taking the disrespect too. Yeah, exactly. So, imagine any other woman like Beyonce Knowles with Sean, and that man had a son with her, but he was with someone like, say, let's just say for argument, her sister Solange. While they were Solange, They're writing about, oh my gosh, she treats me like such a piece of shit. Her head ain't like yours. She can't throw it back like you. Her fucking tomato soup is trash. Please, please come save me. Love me and your son. That's the type shit it is. Why is the baby inside my Nola Bounce playlist? And this is Jersey Club. That's not supposed to be Nola Bounce. Anyways, YouTube! YouTube! You're mixing the streams! There you go. Classic Fergie. See that Kirsch got banned. So 50 billion people who keep tagging me inside of my DMs on Twitter can stop doing that now, thanks. I saw it when I got up. You know who you are. Well, this is exactly the kind of music I listen to all the time. And it's specifically the music that we would all listen to if we wanted to throw it back. Which is what it's designed for. That's what Noble Bounce is. That's my culture. We don't care if that shit's got a dump truck behind it. We don't care if that shit's flat. As long as you hear this track, you can throw it in a circle. Even a semicircle. So even if you can't go like this, it can go like this. You could even throw it in a diamond. If you could throw it in a might have to do a little bit of bounce for it too. It might even be more preferable. And here shows exactly the point that I made about Willow's music being perfect for Noble Bounce.
Oh, yes, bitch. I wonder if the Lord's ready.
No, I said crossing the streams, but my mouth is numb now. Pronunciation of consonants and verbs just went out the window for the next 15 minutes. I love these posts that Goldmaster's been putting out recently. We can cover them more past the timer. Actually, no, we can cover them right now. I mean, yeah, because they are mixing my music streams together. It's not just crossing the streams, they're mixing. They're pooling at the bottom, they're mixing together. Anyways, business time. This comes after this. First up, I'm putting an evil bald-headed woman on your screen for a second, chat. Forgive me. So technically what I should be saying is that I'm saying, yes, that's what I said, and also, my mouth is going to be numb. Look at it, 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 look at it. Okay, we're done. From Cassie, hitting me gets them views. Here's my story from Melissa Mercante. Video re-uploaded from YouTube after takedown. This video upload is for archival purposes only. I make no money off of this, and I do not wish to. I also do not endorse or subscribe to any of the things being said in this video beyond my own personal clips that were added by the uploaded, and I disavow and advise against contacting or harassing of any individuals, in said video. Only wish for people to see the deception and lack of accountability present in said video. At no point is this individual admitting to any wrongdoing of their own accord, even though there's plenty of them to come to terms with, and on top of that, they chose to include me in this video after they had baited me into some petty back and forth arguments on Twitter weeks ago after they had blocked me for months prior. This is not a victim, this is a deceptive and deceitful person that starts fires on purpose and wonders why so much of the internet is strongly against her and her ilk. Once again, I reiterate, do not attack this person, keep your emotions and your comments in check. Let her continue to ruin herself as she has done in this past year. Thank you.
You probably don't know me, and if you do, it's probably not for the right reasons.
What are the right reasons, Alyssa? You give me some right reasons to know you for actual work and reporting that has to do with video games and not just the same 5 common video games you played on your stream, and I will have better opinions about you. Probably not going to happen, though.
Gaming insiders say this harassment shows just how toxic certain parts of gaming culture still are.
My name is Alyssa Mercante. I'm a freelance entertainment and internet culture journalist based in Brooklyn, New York.
And yet you are not capable of doing any of that work because you spend more time talking about things that are not your focus.
March 2024, I wrote a story that would forever change my life. I didn't expect it to. It was just a report dispelling a conspiracy theory that had gained traction in the dank caves of the internet.
Rewind. Beep, beep. Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what some gamer says it does. Sorry, but Cameron, as well as the leads of the studio, say different and think different. They in fact do exactly what we think they do. They do in fact script doctor. They do in fact embellish their writing credits and actively force companies to change their mediums and their market standards. They are forced and punished and even bullied and terrified into making said choices and differences, and they are forced to do so from an outgroup of people that believe that the people that they are being hired to work for by the parent company that brings them in as advisors should let go of their viewpoints and their worldviews, as was written by Cameron and has been revealed by Gothic Therapy and her husband, Master of the TDS. Look at past broadcasts for details.
That would forever change my life.
And it didn't really change your life. You're doing the exact same shit you're doing now, which is being a crybaby on the internet, then getting mad that people are documenting you and Dave Riera, the user whose face is behind the account of Airbagged, and the ringleader of the circle of trolls that are now using his identity and the post-identity stature and tactics to harass and cyber harass other content creators on social media, where they can be able to post to gain money and benefits for doing so. They are not the only ones that do it. They're not the only ones that do it for the left wing, and they're not the only ones that do it in general for the right wing. But you are the ones doing it. You celebrate this behavior. You have not been changed by stopping this behavior. You do not take advice in stopping this behavior. You continue to proliferate this behavior onto others, and you continue to hide behind the idea that because Dave is supposed to be an anonymous figure, but he's not, because he's put his face out there, to the point that all of us have pictures of him. We have pictures, we have tweets, we have captures of those tweets, we have captures of him performatively doing the antics that would then get signal boosted amongst the left wing as one of the good ones. Even showing proof of his name and his face at the same time on broadcasts, as well as on the YouTube and Twitch channels linked to the PASP as in Pass Blue Ribbon. You have not changed any behavior, and it has not changed any considerable stature, except for the groups that you are now known across, because we have seen your antics and you're complaining. Especially the crybaby complaining.
I didn't expect it to. It was just a report dispelling a conspiracy theory that had gained traction in the dank caves of the internet.
Conspiracy theories implies that they're not true and they're not happening and they're not real. Unfortunately, they are happening and they are true and they are real because members at Sweet Baby Incorporated can't shut their fucking mouths. Some of the people who were involved in those stories are now fired because they were too aggressive and too hostile. Namely, one of the ones that was responsible for the beginning of the Goober Gay 2, which was Chris Kindred.
In the same spaces where people convince themselves that furniture sites are trafficking children, or that there's a ring of Satan-worshipping cannibals in Washington, D.C.
I mean, outside of the fact that some of us don't care about that, and that has nothing to do with your gaming issues, thank you for trying to put an entire hysteria on top of people about things that you try to make them think is conspiracy theory, but because we have the internal slacks of communication, we know are actively happening, and you brag about believing nobody would see what you would do. I do not believe in Wayfair kids being trafficked, and I also do not believe in the conspiracy that they are blood-worshipping Satanists. However, they are crazy people that believe in some of the holistic medicines, as Gwyneth Paltrow does with Goop.
The story laid out the core tenets of this particular conspiracy theory. That a single video game consultancy firm, known as Sweet Baby Inc., led by a black Canadian woman, was forcibly injecting diversity into some of the video
Black French, get it right, Black French Canadian woman.
game industry's biggest titles. The report stated that a consultant working at the time with Sweet Baby Inc. discovered a 100-person strong curation page on the video game marketplace site Steam, dedicated to tracking any games that the firm had worked on.
Which is exactly what anybody can do with a list, because that's what the purpose of a list is. I can track games for the purpose of reasons to buy, I can track them for the reasons to not buy. It is not against the terms of service of Steam's create a page. It is anything that anyone can do. It is something that you guys can do right now. But the problem is that your issue isn't that it existed. It's that it existed and that it was pushing in a direction you didn't like. Which is this direction of political consumption. Which is why when people tried to make the woke game detector list, they tried to do so as a honeypot to mimic and jape, J-A-P-E, jape at the list. Where the goal is, I made a list so that you can avoid games that Sweet Baby Inc. is credited on or secretly trying to hide their credits on. They made a list in which they could say, these are lists that you should avoid because they have political theorem in it. Which misses the entire point. Because then you directed people towards looking into shit that had nothing to do with anything. Or trying to avoid games that are some of the most classical games of enjoyment of the past in yesteryear. Because it happened to have something that could be considered political diatribe. Because politics equals woke, therefore woke equals bad. Therefore bad equals do not play.
The curation page also had an affiliated Discord group.
Yeah, many of them do. And you chose to then infiltrate that group. And then exposed your desire to try and label every single person who could be found in said server. Alongside of the guards. Because that's just how you are. Also, that was not the original page of the group. This is what Corridus Rando changed it to after he stopped making it out SBI. The original logo was SBI Detected. He changed it to DEI Detected because he wanted to start pushing for things outside of the reach of Sweet Baby Incorporated. Which everybody told him at the time was a bad idea. Because you would use it in this way. And here you are, confirming that theory that I made to be right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
An online messaging service commonly used in the video game industry with about 2,000 members. The Discord chat...
It was not about, it was over 2,000. It probably is at 2,000 now, Because many of them have left because they no longer see reason to follow him when they could be a lot more hateful following JDA.
That was filled with racist jokes, misogynistic memes, and homophobic hate.
The first two, 100% guilty as charged. The last one, what are you considering homophobic hate? The trap jokes? The transgender jokes? Probably. Doesn't apply to me, though. In fact, I'm a person on record that hates the phrase T-R-O-O-N. Mostly because it gets used against people that it shouldn't be used against. Because there's a difference between a person who's attempting to become a different gender, moving from male to female or female to male, and putting in the effort to try, as we've demonstrated and discussed formerly on the channel, specifically, and by example. If you are a person that is gay, and you are a fan of characters like Lafayette of True Blood, or Liz Taylor of American Horror Stories Hotel, I don't have a problem with you. If you are a fan of the character whose name is slipping my mind, that was portrayed by Walter Goggins for Sons of Anarchy, I don't have a problem with you. Because you're putting in the effort to try, and that counts for something. If you don't try at all, and you're like Anna Valens, claiming that you pass for a transgender woman in a woman's formation of body, but you quite literally still have male fat hips, I don't care. And I'm not going to play this game of nicety with anyone. Especially you, Queen Crybully. The first two, yeah, that's what communities do. They make jokes. They have jokes. They have in-jokes. They're allowed to make humor in places that they're allowed to on the internet because it's not your space. You don't get to write a report about a space and then try to get it banned and taken down because they speak about things and talk about things that you don't allow in your space. That's the entire purpose of the circles. Unlike in most cases where we can't escape the circle conversation, this is where we dive into the circle conversation today. We're skydiving to this bitch, like the Power Rangers at the beginning of the Power Rangers movie. No, you do not get to invade something and then try to call for them to be banned, because they do not have conversations where you alike. We're not doing the 4 square meme circle of you're not welcome here, we're going to make a place for ourselves, why are you trying to leave, you're not welcome here, we're not doing this, fuck off.
Our report contained interviews both with employees of Sweet Baby Inc. and with a few members of that Discord group.
And that's why you don't talk to fucking moderators. Thanks, Caritas. You're a living example that people should learn from. That's why you don't talk to fucking journalists, and why you don't have your moderators talk to journalists.
It's something that I remain proud of more than 365 days after it published, but it forever changed my life. These are the
How? Oh. Rape threats, death threats, violence, racism, and anti-Semitism. If you can't show examples and names of the individuals in question, it doesn't matter, and you should let it slide off your back because they have no power.
The kinds of messages I received immediately after publishing that piece. Hang yourself, traitor. It's an email sent to my work. Hi, you racist. Could I kindly ask you to remove yourself from this world, you absolute waste of air? Hope you get gang by Muslim slut. You're not a journalist, you're a Jew with a complex. You are a participant in degenerate culture and a staple point of that. All I'm saying is don't go planning that 40th birthday, you won't make it to that point. Ugly Jew begging for free shit, what a surprise. Senior editor at Kotaku, spitting on you people isn't enough at this point. Your father raised a disgusting woman and he should be ashamed of himself. Alyssa Mercante is next. Dumb this bitch, you're messing with the wrong people.
Pause. This one is just simply saying, we're ashamed that you exist in this world, and your father should be ashamed of what you've mounted of yourself. This is not a rape threat. This is not a death threat. This is just a shaming threat.
Ashamed of himself. Alyssa Mercante is next. Dumb this bitch, you're messing with the wrong people. You're next in line to be digitally hanged. You're next, traitor. We make you famous. We will continue. You fucked with the wrong people. Your time.
Also, this is the reason why you do not send threats to people like this, because you do nothing but allow them to embolden the crybully behavior. Obviously, I disavow every single statement of death that's being sentenced to this woman.
Is coming to the end. The clock is ticking. Alyssa Mercante, save your sorry ass. Kotaku is next. Alyssa needs to be hanged. Bring no value to the world, and suicide would be beneficial to humanity in your case. Since you're too narcissistic to do that, most parasites are. I also endorse going to a hood in your neighborhood, and the mob will do the same.
Hey, yo, nigga.
See if black gangsters are so inclusive of pansies like you.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo. A little bit too on the nose with that one, bro. We don't need to know about your black raw fetish.
Absolutely despicable human being, either kill yourself or get killed. Look at this, and it's a picture of a bullet. Here's a picture of some giant humanoid creature wearing a Sweet Baby Ink mask, fucking me from behind.
Some people seem to goon way too close to their hatred. That's wild, bro.
I hope subhuman N-words beat you into a coma, rape you, then start tearing your skin off alive to eat you.
I wonder how many of these people are left-wing in nature. Because I know these are not right-wing troll messages. They usually are a lot cleverer about this.
Subhuman, weak, stupid whores like you deserve to die screaming, with black N-word hands beating your stupid skull until you piss yourself and start seizing. No one is going to save you. I was getting hundreds of messages.
That one got to her. Don't blame her.
Across Twitter, Instagram, my work email, my private email, and elsewhere. Not one to have my integrity questioned or my name smeared, or to just lay down and take it. I pushed back against these detractors.
I mean, the problem is that you don't need to push back against these detractors because those were not people that you need to actually address. The people that you actually need to address are people like myself, people like Horror, people like Cassie, people like Asmin Gold, people like Co-Carnage, people like Idjit, people like the members of the Baited Frames podcast, people like the creators and the developers at these industries and businesses that you chose to harass if they didn't come down on your side of the issue, that you decided that if they are not a anti-Gamergate stance, they must be a pro-Gamergate stance. Pro meaning not neutral, but not your side. So if they're a consumer who doesn't care and they would just like to be able to play a video game and buy a video game, they are now against you. Therefore, you will not address a single thing they say, even when they are equal to both sides and they denounce both sides in their retardation, as you attempt to do to me, while still trying to attack everybody else, hiding behind the purse skirts of your troll friend.
At the same time, a whole host of YouTube videos began cropping up that were about me, my life, my work, and anything else I had ever done online.
Accounting for the fact that obviously the majority of these come from Smash JT, which I can just scroll in and attempt to fix because the fucking video quality is being uploaded at 720 to 630p. Let's see here. Smash, 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 smash.
Or about me,
Smash, not
my
smash. Smash, smash.
life, my work.
Smash, smash. That one looks like RK Outpost. Yeah, that's Ryan Cannell.
And any
Smash, smash, smash. That's not smash. It's just the same one. It just looks like it smashes. That's Vara. Smash.
thing else I had ever
Smash. Not smash. That is Nerdrotic Daily.
done online.
Smash. Not smash. 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 Iconically smash. Smash.
They were full of
Varadark again. Varadark again. That is somebody who is completely unrelated.
harassing
Varadark. Ryan Cannell.
statement.
Smash. Smash. Pretty sure that's just similar art. That one is Smugalana in her Firefox outfit.
It's libelous statement.
That is somebody completely unconnected by anybody else. Never seen that individual before. As well as that one too.
Statements, defamation,
That one above. That one was Smash.
misogyny,
That one is Hypnotic. Varadark again. Not related to anybody else.
homophobia, and
Smash. That's Smugalana in her Icebox outfit. Varadark.
everything else you
Freedom Tunes? Question mark? That seems like Freedom Tunes. That is a leftist. That right there, the one that you're looking at, this one, I'm pretty sure that's Jay Schlatt. That's a leftist. That's a leftist making fun of you trying to get next to Hassan Piker, and Hassan Piker rejecting you. So, he's harassing you by the nature of just reporting on something that you drastically did, optically, on Hassan's stream, live to TwitchCon? Hey, okay, so what you good, girl?
You'd expect.
Smash, that one's obviously Smash. Actually, no. That, I think, might be one of the legalese accounts. That might be legal. That might be one of the South Korean legal witness accounts, actually. That one is unaffiliated because these thumbnails are an entirely different color than the normal of the black on yellow.
From a group of people.
Smash JT. That one is also of our dark. That one I don't recognize.
Who use.
That one's made by the same person that made the one above it. Indico Kotaku is obviously Smash. That is just, it might possibly be a Glaze account with the quartering.
Rage bait.
That is also Vara Dark
To make
on the
money
bottom.
on
That one's Ryan Cannell. That one underneath the Ryan Cannell one is also Vara Dark.
YouTube.
And now, just address the whole statement in and of itself without regarding the fact of it. Let's just go ahead and say that 85 to 90% of most of the thumbnails, assuming that she just typed in her own name, it's hard to tell because it's in 3060p, and that's no one's fault. Let's just assume that 85 to 90% of the thumbnails are all Smash because Smash has been milking her. We can all agree in the positive that that is true, right? Oh, yeah, she's included you by guilt by association, too.
Down and take it, I pushed back against these detractors. At the same time, a whole host of YouTube videos began cropping up that were about me, my life, my work, and anything else I had ever done online.
Yeah, because you're a public figure. There's a simple concept here, Alyssa, that you're not understanding, or you've willingly chosen to forget and have decided to act as though it is outside the framework of your ability to understand and get. You are a public figure. 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 The important word here is you, public. You are a public figure. Every time you open your mouth, we are allowed to look at the things happening in the world and respond. You do not get to go onto a platform, say words of defamation, then act like a crybaby, and then say, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're reacting to me." Yes, you spoke. When you choose to speak publicly, everyone gets the ability to consume the material, effort, and benefit of that work, and then react to it. That's content creation. Consumption, then critique, formulated into a review, becomes public information. Okay? Content, observation, consumption, criticism, review. It's not harassment. When you choose to say it publicly, in a public format, no matter how much you hugbox your content, no matter how much you try to provoke people to then react to you on Twitch so that you can then block and ban their accounts to try to get out of being witnessed and perceived and seen. No amount of hugboxes that you do, and at the same demographic, the way that Smash does for his normal Smash casts, that he likes to do at the crack ass at dawn. You are just as accountable for the shit you say and do as I am, as Cassie is, as Horror is, as anyone in this chat room if they are a public figure and makes content on their own channels do, and are like anybody fucking goddamn else. Cuckoo, cuckoo, how the fuck you? Thank you for your money. Da-da-da-da. I love that sound effect. You were eating straight eggs, no bacon. The fuck are you doing? You were eating straight eggs, no bacon. The fuck are you doing? I don't know how you got a better chest. It's an Indian gift that keeps on giving, Cassie. The fuck are you doing? I guess it prioritizes yourself for a gift. You were eating straight eggs, no bacon. What the fuck are you doing? Okay. Finding myself. I had to take a pause because I knew the sound effect was going to keep playing through and it was going to disrupt my train of thought. The same way that every single one of us are accountable for the things that we put forward on a public platform under a name and an account and a persona is the same way that you are. You do not get to hide behind your friend Dave Rivera of Airbag, of Kate Bush's husband, or whatever other synonym he chooses to use on whatever account he's going to use to ban evade on Twitter again. You don't get to say, they made videos about me, about everything I do for work. If you post content to YouTube, just like if you post it to Substack, we're allowed to have an opinion about it. You don't get to hide behind being a public figure and then say when people criticize you, I'm being harassed by people. Because some of the people who are definitely threatening you, they're not putting their names and faces on it. By all means, name and shame and tar and feather the people who are putting death threats to your name. But make sure when you name those figures, you're definitely sure that it's not somebody trying to lie about it. If you do not like getting made fun of online, do not post anything, period. Don't sit there and say, I can't believe that people like Single Player Carl would criticize me. Because the same way I can criticize you, I can criticize myself, I can criticize Cassie, but I need not to, because she doesn't do the shit. I can criticize Smash, I can criticize Hypnotic, I can criticize John Delaroz, I can criticize Melanie Mack, I can criticize JF Trent. I can criticize these people, and you can criticize us. And then we have a back and forth. And then when you criticize us, do we get to complain and cry and harass ourselves? Do we get to complain and cry bully and then say that the industry should do shit? No. You talk shit, you get hit. You make content, we're allowed to criticize it and review it. If you get mad about the fact that we criticize the things that you're doing as public antics, when you choose to go on to nerd broadcasts and pretend as though that you are a very experienced, knowledgeable person when it comes to content, and you're not, and they're protecting you from people while sitting there in the chat room alongside Chris Kindred at the time, which I witnessed, we're going to criticize you for it. When you decide to hide behind David Gaff, the same way you tried to hide behind Dave Riviera, we're going to criticize you for it. Especially when we see and notice that you keep platforming people who don't actually have talking points and they don't have opinions. They just clearly want to make fun of you because they consider you a lolcow. You don't get to use those people's retardation as a justification to run away from the good arguments that some of us, like myself, can form. And, lastly, you do not get to sit there on a broadcast and say things that are very detrimentally, obviously false about the game industry, and then not have the ability to actually tell me something about your field of work. For example, your review and your coverage of X-Defiant. X-Defiant is losing its job and its money and is now, at this point in time, shut down because they couldn't get people to play it. Why? Because you didn't play it! You were too busy complaining and bitching and whining and moaning. You weren't a fan of it. You played a handful of it. Maybe about 7 hours the last time I looked at your Sully Gnome. You did not want to support that game. Just like you didn't really want to support Concord. You just wrote about it because people were talking about it and you wanted to blame it on the chuds. On the incels. On the misogynerds. On the borrow word to replace for sinner and devil that you like to rally against because you still live on a time period where you believe that NeoGAF and Reset Era are enough to get over the barometer of behavior. Who fucking cares? It's a YouTube video. Watch it or don't. If you watch it, learn how to deal with it after you're done watching it. It's not our fucking problem that you're mad about it. If you're going to be mad about it, stay mad about it because it clearly means that it affected you in some serious way. And on the matters of a lawsuit, oh yeah, we're going to keep up in a lawsuit. That's public knowledge. That's public information. You, public. If it can be accessible and found publicly, we can be able to describe it and look over it. Considering that you're choosing to use lawfare to harass a content creator, and you decided to knowingly bring in other people to harass them in that way because you thought that was cool and funny, we're gonna criticize you about that too. Oh, these people, they don't put their names and faces in their content, so I wanted to legally dox them. I wonder why we must all not like you. There's a track pattern here, isn't there? Back to it.
They were full of harassing statements, libelous statements, defamation, misogyny, homophobia, and everything else you'd expect from a group of people who use rage bait to make money on YouTube.
I mean, the entire point of clickbait is that it baits a click. If you clicked on it, that's not our fault. Actually, no. I take that back. It is our fault. Because that was the business model. The business model that was created from the publishers and the platforms and the companies that have recently been sold to Valnet that you and the likes of you were fucking employed by. Granted, you were employed by Polygon. They got Polygon and Kotaku and a couple of other sites as well. I don't feel like doing the whole rigmarole of all of them. The ones that particularly gained here, some of them have been kicked out. Not all, but some, but a good majority chunk. Those tactics were popularized by your SEO hunting foundations and groups. This is the business model that you've been playing by for years. Fuck out of here. If you're going to blame that on YouTubers who are simply following the business model that you created and popularized, but people are clearly clicking on them because they're interested in what's being said, what does that tell you? Does it mean that you're a good lunch? That you're an easy snack? No? If I'm a pie shop and I feature an Alyssa Mercante pie, and people buy it because, damn, I really hate that Alyssa Mercante, but damn, this inside cryberry cherry flavor is just so scrumdiddlyumptious, I think that means that as a product, it sells. Are you just mad that the product sells? Truly, that's not the in-house selling you wanted to complain about, huh? Moving forward.
The Queen Liz, the Witch Queen of Kotaku.
Alyssa Mercante's garbage. He's gaming urinalist.
When you notice a content creator that you recognize, throw ones up in the chat. I saw Hypnotic. Let's go over. We'll start from the beginning. I do not recognize this man.
It's the Witch Queen of Kotaku.
Alyssa Mercante's garbage.
Don't know that
He's
one.
gaming
Where's
urinalist.
Hypnotic?
Curb crawling prostitute bitch. Biggest most
Craigman
narcissistic
here.
cunt on the internet.
Barnacle twat, Alyssa Mercante.
You're an insufferable twat.
Don't know
Funny
him.
enough, is written by
There you go, Cassie.
people writing about hate.
Alyssa Mercante wishes
Hypnotic
because God
again.
knows her herpes-stained ass.
Former cam girl and wannabe
Don't know
journalist
who.
Alyssa Mercante.
By giving the full name,
Smash is here.
you are
Smash is
subtly
here.
implying that you are encouraging your audience to proactively dox a person.
Alyssa Mercante.
Alyssa
JF Trent.
Mercante.
Alyssa Mercante.
Alyssa
Hypnotic again.
Alyssa Mercante.
Clara.
Alyssa Mercante.
Alyssa Mercante.
Alyssa Mercante.
Alyssa
again.
Mercante.
Alyssa
Jonathan
Mercante.
Trent. Cassie again.
Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante,
And smash,
Alyssa Mercante,
smash,
Mercante,
smash,
Alyssa Mercante,
smash,
Alyssa Mercante,
smash.
Alyssa.
Even with the call-out posts, you're clearly still targeting Jeff Darcy. You threw in a smattering of Vara, you threw in a smattering of Cassie, you threw in a smattering of Hypnotic. Very interesting how you don't have me in there. Very interesting you don't have any of my talking points in there. Huh, I wonder why that is. Is it possible because every time I criticized you, I did not use your face in any of that material, no matter where it was on my broadcasts or videos? Very interesting. I feel left out. I should be recognized for my harassment of you. Because criticism is harassment these days. But even here, you're still clearly bitching about Jeff. You're clearly ass mad about Jeff. This is the sign of the raped, chat. This is what it looks like to be raped. This is the sign of the raped.
Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante,
A little bit of a notice, by the way. Roll back just a couple bit.
Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa.
Hey, Alyssa, do you remember when you said this on Giant Bomb Couch, day 1 of Summer Games Fest? I remember. We all saw it live on camera. We were there. Hey, Alyssa, I wonder if there's a reason, if there's events, physical happenings, like for that of Indiana Froskinner Black of G4, formerly of G4. when they attempted to revive the broadcast. I wonder if there are events like that you did recently in memory that people remember, where you decided to prognosticate hatred. Prognosticate's a big word, Alyssa. That means tried to create a future forecast. I wonder if there was an incident where you basically projected hatred out towards people, and there's something that you said that motivated them to start covering you. I don't know, something like fight me, IRL, during a gaming event. I wonder if there was an event like that happened. No? We're just gonna go over that? Even though that's clips of you in your Iron Man glasses? Alright, Ethel.
Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante. This has been the best thing that's happened to my channel since I started 8 years ago. Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Mercante is obsessed with me.
But you are obsessed with him, Alyssa. What's the point of trying to fade it in from the background of all the videos he chooses to make of you? Granted, this is something that if I was his legal counsel, I would be telling Smash JT he needs to stop doing. But we all know that Jeffrey's not going to fucking listen. You are quite literally constantly stalking his timeline and harassing him alongside David Riera and every other individual who follows the antics of David Riera. Because all of you keep following him and keep retweeting them and keep promoting them inside Discords where I have information showing that not only are you all for it, but you are actively spreading the information around, hoping that it can pick up natural traction so you don't have to bot the likes, so that it can get picked up by the mainstream algorithm. We know that you're behind this. We know that you're supporting it. We know that you're doing it. And that you've been engaging in the behavior, going tit for tat. Exactly, Cassie. You've been engaging in the behavior, going back and forth. For all the content that you make about him, you're mad about the fact that he chooses to do it in video form. And even if you put it in tweet form, you would still be bitching about it and still using it to attack him. Again, notice how you don't have any examples from individuals like myself. Because I'll come at you with a fully formed argument. Granted, we don't need to. We can see dumb shit, we can refer to dumb shit, and then move on and get on to the next subject. But you go back and forth with him. And your greatest issue here is that you are mad that they put it in video format and that their video one-offs about you are better than any of the material that you create to focus about your particular topics. You're jealous that you're not getting the views. And it's very obvious to everyone who can see it. Even to people who should be the furthest away from even using the view bat as a shaming tool against you. I'ma beat you with it. I'ma battle you with the fucking view bat the way we used to paddle people at events in anime concerning the fucking weeaboo paddle, okay? Because you are not able to deal with the fact that even literally who also rans get views over your topics in your videos. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Especially with your inclusion of Smash JT. You don't like that he has views that you think you deserve. Because you don't see him as a journalist. Granted, none of us see him as a journalist. We see him as a entertainer that is lol cow milking. 100%. If you want to say all of us are not journalists, independent journalists or entertainers in that capacity, and we're all doing it, okay, let's go to that alternate reality. We're now all lol cow media journalist milkers. None of us are journalists in the true capacity. You're the one true journalist. You're still not getting views over us. If media is all about effective tactic and measures, you're not effective, and we are. And that's what you're mad about. Let's go back to the real reality now. We're back in the reality where we're just media entertainers and streamers and broadcasters and influencers. Some of us who are influencers who influence nothing, except dumbass knuckleheads on the internet making bad jokes. Still getting more views than you. It kind of helps considering we put our content out there and you put yours behind a paywall. Imagine that. Back to it.
And while I was facing all of this, I still did my job. I continued.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You want a medal for doing your job? That's your job. You asked for this job. You signed up for it. You don't get a fucking cookie. Lord knows, considering the internet's track record, if we gave you a cookie, you'd end up grooming a minor. Who's to say you already haven't?
Reporting on important issues in this space,
like
managing a team of writers, mentoring younger industry members, and even putting on an all-day fundraiser on Twitch for Trans Lifeline that...
Oh, I gave money to a fundraiser. That means I'm better than my enemies. Oh, shut the fuck up. I mean, if we want to go there, I don't want to. I'm just saying this for sake of argument. If we want to go there and say, I gave to charity, I helped keep trans and queer people out of the street who personally know me. For no other reason than because I want to make sure that my friends are not eating off the fucking trash heaps. And I did so actionably and ethically amongst ourselves without taking a single bit of corporate money doing it. I don't say that to take pride in it. Don't congratulate me. I would have done it regardless. But if what we're going to do is want to use people as tokens, cha-ching, 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 I'm going to go ahead and break this 50 off real quick in your ass. What did he mean by that? Carl, what did you mean by that?
Raised $25,000.
I kept finding more information about how horrific this charity really is.
Smash JT brought this up. Trans Lifeline. This is the, I guess, charity that she raised money for. She raised $20,000 to a very suspect charity.
Trans Lifeline has a 97% rating on Charity Navigator and is a 501(c)(3).
You didn't mention the part of the content where they discovered that they were doing embezzling on the charity, and that's the reason why they now have the 97% rating, which was the important part of the material suspect matter. So you just defamed at least 10 different content creators and investigators that looked into that material work. That started because you did what again, Alyssa? You went onto a broadcast and you tried to brag about your charity. Then when they poked back after you poked them, you blocked and banned them from your chat room using a new Twitch feature that disallows people from watching the content if they've been banned by the content creator. They investigated this and found this out because you started shit and you couldn't take it. Surprise, surprise, we're right back again at the same goddamn problems, bro. Holy shit.
Can you imagine doing your job while getting stuff like this daily?
Yes! We do it all the time! And then we make money off of it! Can you imagine someone saying, you should break your neck? Can you imagine somebody saying, I can't imagine being proud about this. I hope you kill yourself and you never spawn. And then getting hit back with the, nah, actually, I'm gonna make sure I tell her about this when she's jerking me off underneath the fucking table. Yes, we can. And we do. We deal with it flawlessly. Because we know how to take our shit. You don't. You would not be able to last an iota of 25% of the threats that I get, the threats that I and Jay get collectively together by reviewing shows that are considered not for us, or that all of us as people with this complexion get for being this complexion and then making content on the internet at the same time. Not even attempting to claim nationality or racialhood, but the fact that we are not milquetoast white. You would be unable to deal with it. And yet we are able to do it flawlessly. Because we can laugh through the shit. You cannot.
I absolutely fucking promise you, you will give up before anybody over here gives up.
Alyssa Mercante is an extreme narcissist and most likely trolling for attention.
We are going to be
correct.
Able to very quickly escalate these things if she wants to go down that path.
She craves the attention.
I would
There's coverage of that event again.
rather do time in jail after killing this bitch.
Obviously, we disavow that individual. The same way that I disavowed the people that were inside of that stream that made fun of Abu Bakr Salim, I disavow that statement from that individual. But notice how all the other individuals that you chose to put up here, like Vara Dark, are class acts that do not make these kinds of statements.
Alyssa loves the attention.
Alyssa Mercante is obsessed with me. She's crushed on me, bro. She wants some of the 8-inch Eric.
She loves the attention. attention. As much as she cries harassment, deep down, she loves when people talk about her.
Creatures like Mercante do not leave. They have to be pushed.
And she's like, oh, I'm a victim now. He's saying I'm a murderer. And oh my God, the trauma that I went through.
Imagine knowing your boss, your coworkers, your peers, your friends, and your family are also getting messages like this.
Hey, here's an idea. If you are choosing to send these messages to people, and you know that you work in a business where people will target people, how about you keep their information off the oh wait, you put it out there publicly yourself, that's the reason why they have those numbers. You were bragging about the fact that you were doing these things with these people, and they chose to target them? Maybe address that fact separate of the people who are criticizing you because you have a bad take. And stop lumping us in with lump controls that clearly do not like the attitude that comes with being an accountable public figure. Because all of us can sit with you on a broadcast, even though we would dislike doing it. Almost all of us, including myself, could be able to sit with you on a broadcast, and we could simply get through the thicket of the reeds of shit. But once we were done addressing all the, quote, harassment that you face, and demonstrating that we do not stand by this, we do not stand by this, we do not stand by that, that is clearly a joke. We do not stand by this. We do not stand by that. I do not stand by that, and I know that that person made that thing off of this thing, off of that thing, off of that thing, which is really what you want here. You want to hold people in a holding pattern where they are supposed to be silenced and gagged by the worst of the worst that we have never stood with to begin with in the first place, because it didn't need to be said, but you want people to say it so that you can attempt to be more moral by playing victim, which isn't going to work when you do worse behavior than this, and you hope to hide that behavior behind the worst of your contemporaries. So when we bring up the examples that you are not for, or you're against, when we demonstrate that you're actually for it because you spread it around in private, do we get to do the same thing to you? No, you wouldn't let that happen. That's why you're behaving this way. That's why you go out of your way to strike shit. That's why you go out of your way to harass people by proxy. That's why you go out of your way that when you tell them to do something that you ask them to do, that you do it through your friends by proxy. So you come back looking squeaky clean. You are not clever. This is not tricks that you should be following, because you're not the kingpin. Shouldn't probably be playing from the playbook of a villain in a mob when you're trying to play victim. Good advice, by the way. When we get done addressing all those little nitty-gritty issue problems that you have with people, at the end of the day, when we get done with all those issues, when we've cleaned the table, when the table is clean, your hands are not under the table doing fuck shit, but above the table, addressing problems, when do we get to talk about your actions and behavior for yourself? When will you answer for it? Is it ever? Because it appears to be never or never not ever. And unfortunately, you are a public figure. As long as you in public exist in that 5-word sentence, we're going to have these questions. We're going to ask these questions. And when you can't be found for comment, we're going to have to fill in with what you say and do. And unfortunately, your actions and your behavior are not in line with the quantity and the quality of the work you claim you do. Okay? Okay. Wonderful. Glad we got that out the way.
Simply because they're associated with you.
Somebody decided to buy the, was it Mercante is her sister's name? Mercante.com. Somebody got this domain and began emailing her sister from it. Just think that is fucking hilarious.
Apparently her...
I do not, I disavow this behavior, and I do not believe that attacking family members is on the table. Attack me all the fuck you want. But don't attack my family, do not attack my woman, do not attack anyone that isn't me. I'll take it all day. I'll take the punches in the ring all day. You attack somebody out of me, I'm pulling the red card.
Sister's website has been hacked or taken over, or domain has been purchased and now used to harass her. Can't help but look at the situation and laugh.
I'd go and punch him.
I disavow the words and statements of Smash JT as my name is not Jeffrey Tarza. I do not think it's funny that it's been done, and I do not think it's hilarious that it's being used to antagonize people who are outside the scope of the interest of media and games journalism. It's unacceptable. Shame on him.
mother in the stomach when she was pregnant with her.
I disavow the actions and statements of that individual that I do not recognize in the broadcast. I am not them, so why are you expecting me to answer to their problems? They shouldn't be saying it, but also free speech. That's what you were asking for. There's the free speech that you like to mock people for having. What do you want me to do? I'm not his daddy. You want me to beat him? I can beat him. I can get a belt. I can let you pick out which one. Which one you want me to use? You want me to use the black leather? You want me to use the studded belt that I bought from fucking a punk store? I'm pretty sure I got this from Hot Topic. You want me to use the military belt? You want me to use the dress military belt? You want me to use the dress military belt that I've had for 10 years? Like, what you want me to do? You want me to walk into his house and be like, it's whipping time? What you want to happen? I can't pee his ass to the internet, Alyssa. Contrary to popular belief, my reach extends only so far. See, here's the sad side about gag shit. Now I gotta hang these bitches back up. Like, listen, there's only so much I can fucking do, okay? Okay? Okay. Some gags are easier said than done. I should have already had them on the singer to begin with. Push forward.
Somebody hurt her. Whether it was her parents, whether it was her dad, whether it was a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Boyfriend trauma.
Ironically, she's not a lesbian and has a boyfriend. Imagine sleeping with this creature.
Imagine being her parent.
Like, I fucking failed as a father if my daughter acted like this.
When I decided it was time to take legal action against those who were smearing my name.
Alyssa Mercante.
Smearing your name implies that they are speaking falsely about you. They are not speaking falsely. They're speaking on material that you chose to go on to publicly. That's you. Publicly appearing on a broadcast where you specifically took calls publicly. Granted, those calls are being sifted and decided for by the host, who you told to not let certain people on, and you have since been dodging those individuals, like Short Fat Otaku and others. Short Fat Otaku, Wick TV, Lonerbox, myself, the members of EFAP, Jay Longbone, etc., etc., etc. Any of these figures that you've harassed, that you've publicly tried to avoid confrontation with, you've directly invited confrontation, including the very famous Giant Bomb clip, where you demanded for people to set things up for boxing, and you refused to do so because you did not want to do business with people like Keemstar, as well as Keemstar himself. There have been multiple people who have attempted to contact you that wanted to follow up on your public statements. And you've denied all of them because they weren't left-wing enough for you.
I decided it was time to take legal action against those who were smearing my name.
Alyssa Mercante, who sells her...
Well, not against everyone selling your name, just against Jeffrey Tarzia.
...self for sex and sucks dicks for money.
Something that you've admitted to directly on your broadcast, in that broadcast where you said you were digitally stripping for money. After saying these things were jokes. But then you destroyed information that was in violation of the discovery that you were issued for the legal case, which you were stricken for by Jeffrey's legal counsel.
Natural habitat is on her knees, ladies and gentlemen.
Alyssa Mercante, who has since come forward saying that she used to be a sex worker, sucking dicks for money.
A senior editor is a former prostitute.
Apparently words are dehumanizing, but getting railed by Tyrone and his entire gang over in Brooklyn is not.
Alyssa Mercante sucks more at journalism than she did sucking dicks.
Stinking digital prostitute.
Those who wanted me to not just lose the job I had, but to never get a job in this space again.
Okay, they're allowed to wish that. You've had people be attacked by Dave and their ilk trying to stop us and trying to use life ruination tactics. If you're not for that tactic, then you should probably tell Dave to get off of the accounts Stop attempting to violate his bans and just simply take the L and just stream on Twitch and have fun on Twitch. The same way that you should. But you're not doing that. You're focusing on doing this instead.
What do you think happened?
Alyssa Mercante has filed a lawsuit with...
I wanted to have these people stop. And what did these people do when I made public content? They then spoke on my matters publicly. Again, we are not all Jeff Tarzia. This is not a Spartacus moment, okay?
It's a very frivolous 54-page attempt at doxing me and attacking me.
But she admits to bringing it on herself. Like, she could easily walk away, but she...
I will answer all questions at the end. We need to get through the video completely.
Decides to know. She's addicted to this.
In a just world, sending someone a cease and desist and then filing a lawsuit to get them to stop harassing and defaming you should get them to stop. But instead, Jeff kept making content, and I kept...
And now you're clearly phrasing it directly at Jeffrey Tarza. Sorry, we're not Jeffrey Tarza. Why are you showing this towards the internet when you should be sending it and explaining this towards him and his legal counsel? In court. Not publicly. The important part here is the publicly.
Kept getting harassment every time he did it. He knows that, though. That's why he does it.
Before you even start typing, well, you're talking about, you're pushing it. This has been the best thing that's happened to my channel.
How would you feel if you faced this every day for more than a year?
I would feel annoyed. But I would also know that the people in question that are doing it for attention. And then I would starve them of that attention. And then when they're getting starved of that attention, I would then make sure that everybody can see exactly how naked-faced the harassment is and where it started from. Which is exactly what I did in the situation. That's why those users that played Once Human are not allowed to play Once Human again. They're permanently banned because they chose to harass me publicly. And I just used my public streams to give to the Once Human staff at NetEase the ability to ban them for 10 years. That's what I did. And then for all the other people, it's like, I have a space, they tried to enter it, I banned them from that space. When they said, why did I get banned? I then showed their own messages, words, and or video clips of them admitting that they were trying to unsettle a space that was not made for them, but was instead made for my audience members. They had no interest in being in that audience. I removed them from the space that they were not welcome in. Ta-da. You can do that, Alyssa. You're allowed to police your own space. But you don't get to police the space that is the entire internet and claim he does not deserve to be here. Granted, the same logic would apply for everybody else, but you see, in that circle, there's smaller circles. And in those smaller circles, that smaller circle is what you get to be complacent and ignoble of. And unfortunately, as we cannot escape the circle, rather, I cannot escape the circle, you cannot escape the circle of consequences or violence and actions you take against others being paid forward unto you. If you do not like what happens in that circle, in that cycle of violence, that vicious cycle that you perpetuate, try not being a part of it.
Just for doing your job. And for daring to push back against people who hate you for it.
Crybully tactics. 100% crybully video, crybully tactics. Disgusting. Annoying. At no point in time in this content did you ever try to address the actions that you did that precipitated the reactions you got. You tried to crybully and use cryolytics to justify your opinion post hoc. And sorry, in a post ad hoc and post context and post truth world, I don't take your truth as true. It is fiction. You are playing at being a victim, and I will not allow you to be one. I will remind you of what you have done, and I will disabuse you of the notion every time you speak, because I get to do that. You don't have to hear it. You can try to block it and remove it. In fact, you already have tried to, but you still keep stalking us behind blocks. And we know that you are, because, Alyssa, in this version of Twitter, when you block someone, it doesn't stop us from seeing what you're saying. And we can see you're clipping our timelines. Dummy. Crybully behavior from crybully tactics using crybully cryolytics. Same as it ever was. She learned and will learn nothing. Reading chat now. Mainly focusing for the questions. Hi Sarah. We are learning and talking about a journalist crying, as the thumbnail, or rather, the title would explain. Also, didn't she delete all of her tweets when she got exposed? She deleted some tweets that were in reference to the context of what led her to be criticized. Namely, the comments that she made about being a sex worker, and then on that same interview that she did with David Jaff, admitted that she in fact was a sex worker who at least did digital cam work. So, she was a cam girl, she did stripping, she did digital stripping, by her words, in cam work. Therefore, she was a sex worker. Therefore, when she made jokes about saying that she was sucking dick for money, it wasn't that she was doing work inside a strip club, but she was doing cam work on the internet as a sex worker. So, sex positive, but allows herself to act like a crybaby to try to use sex negativity as a shaming tactic against people because they're not for sex everywhere in spaces where it shouldn't be. Like outside of a red light district. Or censor. Blah, 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 blah. Indeed, Carl cannot leave the circle, DOJ. Carl cannot leave the fucking circle. She looks like a white Jada Pinkett. It pisses me off. That's because she shaved her head. She's one of those. She likes following in the line of Amber Rose. Nah, I'm not casually flexing my wardrobe. Just making a point. Like, I can't whoop people's ass through the internet. Coming in and sending these questions towards us and saying, what are we supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I'm a single individual content creator. Unlike the fact that we usually get tied in with, the internal movement that collectivizes all of us together, we all are people going in our own directions by our own speed of movement. We just happen to be moving in the general direction. I'm going like this. Cassie's going like this. Horror's going like this. Hypnotic's going like this. Because he's Mexican. We're all moving in the direction of positive outcomes for consumers. And even though we're moving in the same direction, that does not mean everybody is on each other's sides. So when somebody does something stupid, like Smash JT, that does not mean that I'm for his side. That does not mean that I support him. If he's being attacked for something that is ignoble, then I can support him in terms of, damn, that's bad. That shouldn't have happened to him. Especially if it's happening because of left-wing freaks, such as the ones that you chose to put forth the opposite of what was there in that message train with all the hate messages. When they do that to us, we can be, yeah, damn, that's crazy. That's fucked up, bro. But at the end of that statement, depending on whether or not they might deserve it, we might say, damn, crazy, that's fucked up, bro, comma. But I know why that happened for, and he's kind of baiting for that attention, so, you know, it's whatever. We're capable of doing that, Alyssa. We can be able to put to actions, no association, both in the negative or the positive. That's what smart people can do. Genuine question. Do you think there are chances that Alyssa fights as a replacement for Elena at Creator Clash 3? I don't know. If she wants to try and get career off the ground, she'll try to push to be involved in that event. Yes. It would help her, because then people would see her doing an event and it would get all the same work that it would for charity. Because she loves tokens, bro. She loves tokens, so she's gonna spend them. All the victim bucks that she can get to help her be able to bring attention to herself, it'll be good for her. Because that's what she does. That's her style. That's what she wants to do. It's pathetic. She likes to cry bully people, and then she likes to hide behind the cry bully and say, I'm being bullied, I'm being harassed. It's really fucking sad. You're not being oppressed. You're being criticized. For some of the people who are actively harassing you, you already know how to deal with it. You can block them. You can report them. You can remove them from your site. You can ignore them. For the people that are simply commenting on what you do, there's nothing you should do other than just simply do your job. You do your job, they're going to run out of ammunition and steam. Because if all they want to do is make their content about you, when they don't have material, when you don't give them ammo, they won't be able to shoot you. Simple. Simple, 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 simple. 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 And now moving on to the other journalist that's yapping. Alana Charizard Pierce. What a ditty. Straight from our boy at Harmful Opinions.
I have to make a special thank you to Alana Pierce. I'm sure it wasn't directly because of my video. I presume she hasn't even seen it. But she did relist the video I asked about. It hasn't been returned to the original title that most
Journalists are people. They're just not very good people.
viewers would have seen that I think really
Game journalists and normal journalists that refuse to do the job of informing people and instead try to inform us of drama that they choose to make money off of us for.
cements the idea that the implication is answers related to her work relate to God of War, because originally the title was What It's Like to Work on God of War, but props for transparency. You know, I think it absolutely does create the implication that she wrote on God of War.
I never even claimed to be a writer on God of War Ragnarok. Anyway, I never implied it, I never said it, I only ever said I didn't do shit.
Obviously I disagree, but since the video she used as evidence is now available for you to look at for yourself, whatever, I'm cool with that. There is something else though that I am extremely not cool with. She used a couple other clips in her video to support the idea that she never said she wrote on God of War. Now, neither of them actually function as evidence for that. They are just her humbly stating she didn't do much compared to other people because she came in late. That doesn't speak at all to the nature of her work. But that's beside the point, because I found there is a much greater problem with her evidence. You see, I decided to take a much closer look at this clip.
I always feel like I have to give the context. I didn't work on this game a ton. And my pride comes a lot more from...
You see that little cut?
Game a ton.
Not suspicious in and of itself. If you watch one of my stream highlights, you'll see a million hard cuts like that. But I don't think that cut was there in the original upload. See, there's a website I like to use a lot that rips transcripts and metadata from YouTube videos to make them more easily searchable. Now, currently, the video Ilana ripped a clip from has 60k views. But it seems like Filmart.com pulled all the info from it back when it had 56.7k views. And something very interesting happens when you try to play the current version of the video alongside the transcript that Filmart ripped. It desyncs. And where exactly does it desync?
Game a ton.
Let me show you.
So I always feel like I have to give the context. I didn't work on this game a ton. And my pride comes a lot more from, like, I'm a part of the studio.
Which means whatever she originally said after the word ton in that video has been removed afterwards in YouTube's editor, after at least 56,000 people saw the original version. So what did Ilana cut out? Here's the transcript of what seems to be the erased section. The automated transcript has obviously fumbled certain words, but that always happens and we'll get the idea. I didn't work on this game a ton. I was just about to say, but then I stopped myself. I haven't gone asked, but yeah, like, sorry, I never really remember what's the works on it. I am allowed to say that I worked on the accessibility stuff, which I did. Like, I pitched and helped iterate some literal features of the game, some gameplay mechanics. For writing, I think I'm allowed to say, I'm not allowed to say what I can say, I wrote some of my supportive content, and I'm not allowed to say what.
Because at the time, if everybody remembers, when Ilana complained about the acceptable disability of a child as a disability playing video games, the argumentation was that she was giving context about an official type of recognized disability, namely the situational disability, that would disable you from being able to pay attention to, react towards, or engage with gameplay mechanics because of an outside factor that is implicit upon the factor of disability, but not the active factor of a physical disability. So disability of the eye, disability of the hands, disability of the mind. A child disability would be in line with the type of disability writing that Ilana does, because Ilana is an insider that focuses on this type of material work trade. So, she eliminated any and all feature inside of the documentation about her working on accessibility features, because if she worked on the accessibility features, when people criticize her for having worked on the game, she's saying, I worked on the accessibility outreach and connectivity, when people are really understanding it as, I worked physically on the game and its in-play mechanics. Interchangeably, you could say that that matters depending on if the person uses accessibility details, but what people understood that is she took credit for playing on the game and for writing when she probably had something to do with the disability writing, and then that way laid into, okay, show me your writing credits. Extremely dishonest. Doesn't help when you have the added context. Still fucked for it.
After that, there's a brief exchange where it's not clear who's saying what, but it looks like a bit of the old, oops, haha, yeah, I just mean I wrote the sliders, haha. Let's get away from this subject, which obviously isn't the stuff she can't tell you about. So, sure sounds to me like that's her stating she wrote for the game, but can't tell you about it. Maybe it's a very teeny tiny amount, but she absolutely has stated that she did writing on this specific game. Want to see a really cool other piece of evidence that a big chunk was cut out? A video is playing in the background.
I always feel like I have to give the context. I didn't.
Now that is the God of War reveal trailer. Here's the frame it was on right before the cut in her video. That's about 20 seconds into the reveal trailer. And here's how far her cut skips it ahead.
A ton. And
this is from about 1 minute 10 in the reveal trailer.
I always feel like I have to give the context. I didn't work on this game a ton. And
quick maths. That's a 50-second jump. What a perfect amount of time to say everything that was in the original transcript. Like I said in my previous video, mostly looking into her is going to be a waste of time, because her methods mean being able to catch things is a matter of luck. Was it already archived by someone else or an automated system before she tried to cover stuff up? And like I said before, I don't really understand why it's such a big deal. Does she think they're going to come after her for breaking her contract at this point? But what I do think is
there is no chance in the world that they were ever going to come after Alana Pierce. We've been trying to size her up to be an insider that is going to then make the pivot from being games journalist to active VA talent, considering that she's many of the VA talents that were scheduled for the video game Dispatch, which is a superhero tactical video game / VA novel.
Is a very, very big deal. Is trying to manipulate masses like this for your personal benefit. Doing it just to own the chuds and protect your image.
Yep, and that's the part that we don't like, because that's that fuck shit we can't stand. You try to trick people into thinking that they're wrong, and then you try to manipulate information behind the scenes to act as though you're covering up for yourself, and you're making us think that we're crazy, when we know for a fact that we know what we're talking about. Which is the same shit that we just looked at from the image trailer that we just got from the material posted by Cassie. Hail the Cult of Cage. That's that fuck shit. Like, we hate, but we hate honestly. I don't make up shit to hate you for. I make up shit to dislike you for because you chose to be deceitful. This is deceitful. This is a journalist whose job is to inform me, and instead they're trying to take information away from me.
When they're right. And to be saying things like this.
This is the internet. If I had ever said that, there would be receipts. There are none. No.
Begging the question.
Nobody has found one because none of them exist.
When you
claiming that people are lying, and then proof that demonstrates that not only you lied maliciously. And attempted to doctor the information. Meaning that we can never trust you in the capacity of a journalist because you've proven a desire to try and be dishonest out of the gate.
You know what you've done to hide it is obscene. Free advice. Don't be saying stuff like that unless it really is true. Some of us take that as a challenge, and I find that to be quite a disgusting statement, given the traces of your behavior I've uncovered. Maybe it doesn't exist now, but it did exist before, didn't it? And as I said previously, who knows how many other examples have been successfully swept away. If you blabbed, if you messed up, if you overstated your role momentarily a few times, that's understandable. But when you start lying to the world, start wiping things away and pretending, no, you never saw that. It's not real. That, in and of itself, ticks me off and is wrong.
Yeah, that brings us to the end of the material that I had prepared today. Anyways. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, chat? About either of the material. Meanwhile, these guys are having a nerd chat in the middle of the chat. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. Yes, no, maybe so. Doesn't seem to be. Alright. How much more time do I have today before I need to stop and then I pick back up again with the versus chat? It'll be like another 5 to 10 minutes. What can I crack open in that time period? Let's look. This is taken care of. There's a couple of videos in here, but I think I will save them for another Carl and Home segment. Because I've got some other stuff to deal with. Well, no. I'm gonna save this one for another time. This one's too good. This one deserves its own segment. I have like what? I think at max I have maybe 20, 30 minutes. What are we saying no to, horror? No. Okay, just my question. I mean, I'm not shocked by the material that was put forth in front of me, and I'm also not shocked by the fact that Alana Pierce attempted to hide her involvement with the media pack so she could attempt to try and own the Chuds, despite we knew that she was lying out of the gate to begin with anyways. It's the same level of lying that we expected of Sweet Baby Inc. when we investigated, or rather when I investigated their material work on Kill the Justice League, and we discovered that they weren't just responsible for the bio writing, but they were given the title credits of lead writers, and their writing went outside the scope of just normal criticism and was script doctoring. When is versus chat starting? Probably within the timescape of 4 to 6 as a start time, and then at least a minimum of 3 to 4 hours. So if I start at 4, it'd be from 4 to 8. If I start at 6, it'll be from 6 to 10. So around dinner time for me. In the meanwhile, I have some extra house cleaning that I need to get done, so I was using the free time that I had before that. And then after that, I'm editing stuff. Trying to get some of these videos out that I've been working on for too long. I do not appear to be able to find anything in particular, so let me just pull something from the Carl and Home selected parts that we can just get through. Let's see here. Let's look at this. How long is this video? That's not happening. Jesus Christ, Mama Max. Fucking 2 hours. Let's look through Alfred Pick. Let's look at something that the chat wanted to put forth. St. Burden Show, Dan Killer Video, Dan Hensel, Benjamin A. Boyce, Raymond Oreo, Paloma Reloaded, The Harmful Opinions I Hate, Anna Ballins. Please tell me this is short.
Online for the
Yes,
past
it
few
is.
days,
Okay.
I've been seeing an...
Let's look at this. Let us look at this video from 3 days ago by Harmful Opinions concerning Anna Ballins. Whereas I believe the internet's decided to start calling her, as a joke, anal violence. It'll be a fun presser to get out of the door with. Let's have it as a palate cleanser, chat. I don't know if Cassie knows about Anna Ballins. This might be a crazy watch for her. People need to be more constructive with the criticism towards these women because Alana and Alyssa are quick to hide their lies and deception behind the dumb commentary. True, 100%. I've been for that, and I've always told people that for the beginning of days. If you're going to call them out about something, you have to call them out to their face about it directly on a live stream. I've told you that. I've told Dev that. I've told multiple figures, including Aiden, that. I've told, in the few chances that I've gotten to talk to certain media figures that have Twitter accounts, that whenever it comes up, I tell them that. These are people who are very quick to take everybody else's words that have nothing to do with you and use them as a way to dismiss something that you say to them. When we, the Royal Collective, when we are quick with our wits and short with our words, they're very quick with their attempts to reach for the editing tool and for the correction ink. They will hide and lie about whatever the fuck you give them the chance to do so. Now, being on top of them, while helpful, doesn't really help in the fact that they'll frame anything you do as cry-bullying positions. Even if you say it in the most kind and respectful way, they are going to be the first ones to scream and cry harassment when they're trying to cry-bully you. So you have to be very, 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 very careful about how you choose to go about saying things. Gotta be on that ass. That's just how it is. Let's get into this.
Online, for the past few days, I've been seeing an article circulating from Vice called VTubing Has an Elephant in the Room, Bigotry.
This article is now gone because the Fox won. Granted, she did get banned later. By she, I mean Kirsch. Kirsch did end up eating a ban. Supposedly, it's her first time, and it's supposed to be like a 3-7 day ban that she'll probably only eat a day and a half of. But any kind of ban, despite dealing with the fact she was dealing with non-stop harassment campaign, is bullshit. So, this will be a fun read for people who are unaware of Anna Valens.
And there's a little update that was added on the 9th that says, since the publication of this article, harassment against me has become particularly egregious on Twitter. An anime-themed tea company told me to kill myself. A right-wing VTuber fan encouraged me to buy rope to hang myself.
The company that she's talking about is Dragon's Treasure, and she directed a hate campaign towards him where they tried to harass his company account directly for his purchasing matrix. And that was a fun existence. This is the account in question. If you wish to buy tea from them, I would suggest doing so. It is delicious and good. They had a constant back and forth concerning that group where they were leaving such messages that were unfair and unworthy of content and criticism. I don't know how long I'm going to have to scroll to go down to find them, but they're up here publicly. So you can see that this is a couple of their stuff. This is some of the things that they sell, such as shampoo and conditioner bars, the Dragon's Apothecary Healing Down and lemons. Might have to go to the media tab to find the posts in question that I'm looking for. So, here's examples from the harassment that they were getting because of Anna Valens attacking their business. Here's them speaking out about the harassment that was happening to other content creators that have crossover with their work. I'm looking for the site reviews that were written about his content. Here we go. Here's people beforehand on the 8th issuing chargebacks in connection to the event to try and cost him money. Here is a visibility limitation that was being done to the material and work to harass the account that has been removed that somehow no longer exists. Here we go. And here is the people who support Anna Valens and choosing to attack everybody to directly harass his company with immature comments that were made about products that they had despite not purchasing anything. That's the level that this goes towards. Obviously, the normal shit that they're doing against Kirsch, everybody knows. The things that they were doing against Dragon's Team, not enough people know. So I'm telling people in case they didn't know. So you are aware. And it's still good all the same.
And this caused two things to spring to mind. Firstly, that's pretty mild. On the scale of what people can do to you online, that kind of attack is very easy to counter. Simply don't do it, idiot. And secondly, I'm really not surprised, and my lack of surprise has nothing to do with the author's recent skirmish against Kirsche Verstahl, who, full disclosure, I use a voice clip of as a sub-alert on Twitch. No, the reason I will never be surprised that this person is receiving hatred is because the author in question is an individual who goes by Anna Valens, and I recognized that name immediately, because Anna is one of the most vile creatures to ever write about video games. games. Are any of you guys familiar with the classic British comedy show, Brass Eye? Way back in 2001, the Pedo-Geddon special was published, mocking news sensationalism and over-the-top hysteria about child safety. One of the bits in that episode was about a man who had hooked up a sex toy to a children's game, such that when a small dog is played with, he receives sexual pleasure.
This man has plugged his groin into his computer to get sexual pleasure from the actions of a child playing with Panto.
So every time you kids tickle Panto, the paedophile gets his rocks off.
This was meant to be ridiculous and absurd, pointing to the way news media terrifies parents with outlandish coverage. But a couple decades after this episode aired, Anna Valens made it real. Do you remember Fall Guys? It's unlikely, but maybe you even still play it. I played a lot of it when it first came out, and all the while, as I streamed it, I was always hyper aware that this is a game clearly meant to appeal to children. Obviously, many adults, such as myself, played it, but a common gag would be, yeah, good job, you beat a bunch of preschoolers. Or if I lost, I'd be mocked for being destroyed by 5-year-olds. I tried to go for that 10 win streak achievement, but never got it, and my cope was, hey, I don't stand a chance. Most of the people who play it are kids who have nothing better to do all day, so of course they're better. There is no escaping or ignoring the child-friendly juvenile presentation. Still, I didn't let that stop me from playing and having a good wholesome time. But Anna Valens went a step further. Anna wrote an article for Daily Dot that is apparently no longer available except as an archive. The article in question was called "What Playing Fall Guys with a Sex Toy Means for Sex, Tech, and Consent in Games."
And these are the people who want us to look at the profession as a whole and say they deserve to have respect just because they wear a pin that says game journalist. Well, I have a pin on my hat that says King of Fuck Shit Mountain and the best caramel cacacity this size tiramisu. Don't make it true.
Play is an erotic experience, and I'm having a blast. In this article, Valens recounts hooking a vibrator up to the game, such that it would pleasure them when other players interacted with their character. Brass Eye's Pedo-Geddon episode wasn't meant to be a set of suggestions, but apparently Anna didn't get that memo. In the interest of fairness, I will highlight that ethical concerns were raised in the article, though this section was severely lacking. Valens wrote, "There are, to be clear, an enormous number of ethical issues around inserting sex toys into your multiplayer games. During the stream, I didn't really think much about why I wanted to keep colliding against other contestants or grabbing them, let alone being grabbed. Then it dawned on me that I was engaging other players in an interaction that they hadn't actually been fully informed about. That's the in-game equivalent of hugging as many people as possible so you can feel your butt plug wiggle inside of you, which is not a great thing to do in public." This sparked a much larger question about whether Fall Guys is even an appropriate game to play with a sex toy at all. While I'm inclined to think passively playing the game with an Internet of Things sex toy isn't necessarily a problem, just as playing Overwatch with a dildo isn't, actively grabbing players and bumping into them is a huge no-go. Use the tech responsibly. So it's all cool so long as a child just incidentally triggers your vibrator. Forget
incidental gooning. That is some of the best work that the internet has gotten from Anna Valens when she's not specifically making material describing their sexual fantasies, of which for that I'll spare Cassie. If you want to find out, it's there on my media feed whenever Anna Valens has come up in the news for the last 10 days. It's 2 very famous videos that are hosted on Kiwi Farms. If you want to go find them, should you not want to go find them from my media feed, you can find them on the front page of her post on that website. If I speak, they will shoot me.
Ethics. For me, that near-guaranteed scenario in a game like Fall Guys, where its extreme appeal to a very young audience is absolutely unavoidable in every moment of play, is more than a bit of a turn-off. And if you can't intuit this issue, which is never raised once in the entire article, then you have pieces missing. Something is horribly, horribly wrong with you. And no apology or recognition of ethical issues surrounding consent can hide again that which you've revealed of yourself. I would also like to call into question the sincerity of the ethical concerns raised, as at the start of this article, the author promotes a video of them playing Fall Guys like this on their channel on a porn website. And though the video has now been removed, we can see in an archive that the video was 17 minutes long and was viewed thousands of times, with its description promising a full refined version on OnlyFans later. Yeah, you really thought what you were doing was totally wrong, didn't you? Let me quickly show you a picture of Anna from that article and ask you a question. What do you think backlash for this was blamed on? Wrong, didn't you? Let me quickly show you a picture of Anna from that article and ask you a question. What do you...
The sad thing about this picture here, chat, the sad thing about this picture, if we all wanted to lie and say that this was a brother, a trans brother or trans sister of Alyssa Mercante, we could have gotten away with it. Because that's how comparative their fashion sense is. Mind you, Anna Valens is a trans woman and Alyssa Mercante is a cis woman. But the material that is inside of that voice clip that I will not be playing on camera, as the meme goes, anal violence would do horrible things to Alyssa Mercante. And if for no other regard, we cannot allow that unfair treatment to happen to any woman, even the kind of women that do not deserve our peace and protection by virtue of existing.
You think backlash for this was blamed on? I'll give you a moment to think. 3, 2, 1. Zinnia Jones at the time wrote, "I don't give an F if someone wired up their vibrating butt plug to a video game. Y'all are just primed to see literally anything that trans women do as sexually predatory." Anna quote tweeted this and said, "Remember the Fall Guys controversy where I played Fall Guys with an external vibe and how mad everyone got? I just came across a cis girl recording herself having sex while playing Fall Guys. Her screen is in the recording and penetrative sex affects how she moves. No outrage. None. If your guess was transphobia, you get no points because it was obvious." I will never tell Anna to commit suicide because I don't think encouragement is necessary if self-awareness is ever developed. But I will provide another piece of advice. You, my friend, should not be getting involved in any internet fight over appropriate behavior. You should have crawled into a hole and never shown your face again, praying that someday your name will be forgotten, instead of, as you're doing now, trying to play some sort of reputation game. Is this the kind of person you want to work with? A content creator who sends journalists transphobic death threats? Oh my, a journalist. What are some articles you've written?
Don't answer that question, chat. You don't want to see, you don't want to read those articles that Alana Valens has written. She might try to goon towards you next. You and her lost down a hallway, and she's violently thrusting towards you as she moves towards the camera. Like that one guy from, I can't remember what that anime is called. It's not Paranoia Madness, it's another one entirely. It might actually be One Punch Man. But yeah, you don't want to be in that situation, chat. You don't want to be in that situation. But with that being said, I've ran out of time. If only I didn't have to work. If only I could just live stream and be lazy. But too bad, chat. I want to make videos too. So, I will see you all around either 4 or 6 p.m. Whichever one works first for the broadcast. And I will see you all there with what we have to go over, which is probably going to be the greatest hits of the art commentary community. We've got a good piece of work we got to work on for the next 2 days. At the same time, I would like to get back to my JRPG. So I will see you all then. Behave yourselves. Remember to spay and neuter your pets unless you like to have kittens and puppies. And remember, brush twice after dinner. I will be seeing you all in the funny papers, and I will be billing each and every single one of you in my therapy. Goodbye now. And thank you, Cassie, for the members. I appreciate you. Goodbye.